Hi, in this video, I will demonstrate the features of SkyDRM.com. Powered by a Zero Trust Unified Policy Server and NextLabs' patented Dynamic Authorization Policy Engine, SkyDRM is the NextLabs Enterprise Digital Rights Management (EDRM) solution that enables secure collaboration and sharing of sensitive documents flowing through internal and external business processes. SkyDRM provides persistent protection of data in transit and at rest by enforcing access and usage policies on files stored across the file stores, enterprise applications, cloud services, and endpoints. In this demonstration, we will cover the features of SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop (RMD) and SkyDRM Web Applications. Here is the demo setup. The document classification has 4 labels: public, internal, confidential, and restricted. These are policies created for the demo. In the policy, access rights for files classified as internal, view, print, edit, save as, screen capture, and extract rights are granted to files with internal label. In the policy, access rights for files classified as confidential, view, print, and edit rights are granted to files with confidential label before November 8, 2023. In the policy, access rights for files classified as restricted, view rights is granted to files with restricted label. For this demo, we will use SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop (RMD). You can download the SkyDRM RMD using this download link. After entering your email, you can download the RMD installer. Now, let's move into the demo. In this use case, SkyDRM admin will log in to SkyDRM admin console to define a central policy with expiry date. As a SkyDRM admin, I will log in to SkyDRM.com. Once logged in as a SkyDRM admin, let's switch to the admin console. Now, I will navigate to the Policies page by clicking Policies under the Domain Policies. Here, I can define a new central policy by clicking on the Add Policy button. I will enter the policy name: Access Rights for Files Classified as Confidential. Since we want to protect files that are classified as confidential, we will need to set this condition. Here, we can select Confidential as the classification. Let's select Print and Edit Permissions, as the permissions granted for confidential files are View, Print, and Edit. To set an expiry date for this policy, click on Show Additional Options. Then, under Policy Effect Duration, select Specific Days. We can now set the policy's validity period. I will set the end date as November 8, 2023. Finally, let's click on Save and Deploy to deploy this policy. As you can see, the policy is successfully saved and deployed. In this use case, I will demonstrate accessing protected files in Workspace. We will access the protected files in Workspace from subfolders. Then, we will check the file rights and open the protected file with SkyDRM Viewer. We can then view the file activity log. Here, I am already logged in to SkyDRM Web Application. Let's go to Workspace. Then, click on Protected Files folder. Here, there are different subfolders. First, I will view the files in the cat subfolder. Let's check the permissions of the file in this subfolder. By clicking on the menu, select the View Info icon. Here, you can see that the file's classification is internal, and I have view permissions. Next, I click the file to view the protected file in Web Viewer. Now, let's check the file's activity log by clicking on the View Activity icon in the menu. Here, you can see all the activities of the file. Let's go back to the Protected Files folder and access the Office subfolder. Similarly, let's view this file in Web Viewer and check the permissions. We see that this file is classified as restricted, and these are the permissions applied to the file. Going back to the Protected Files folder, let's now access the PDF subfolder. Similarly, I click on this file to view the file in Web Viewer. Then, check the permissions of this file. We see that I do not have any permissions on this file. Again, let's go back to the Protected Files folder and access the Image subfolder. I click on a file to view in Web Viewer. Then, check the permissions of this file. This file is classified as confidential, and the permissions applied are as follows. Let's click the View Activity icon in the menu to view the activity log. Now, let's log in to SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop (RMD) and go to Workspace, Protected Files folder. First, I access the cat subfolder and check the permissions of a file. To do so, right-click and select View File Info. As you can see, the file is classified as restricted, and I will be granted view permissions. Let's open this file with SkyDRM Viewer. Next, I go to the Office subfolder and open the file to view. The file is opened with Microsoft Word, as SkyDRM is integrated into Office applications. Let's check the permissions of the file through the Office application. Click on the NextLabs tab and click on Permission to view the permissions of the file. As this file is classified as internal, I have added permissions. Since I have added permissions, I can make edits to this Word file and save. Let's close the document, and the file will be uploaded to the server. Next, let's go to the PDF subfolder and check the permissions of this file. As you can see, this file is classified as internal, and I have the following permissions to this file. I can also view the file in SkyDRM Viewer. Lastly, I access the Image subfolder. Let's check the permissions of a file. This file is classified as internal, and these are the permissions applied to the file. By double-clicking the file, I can view the file in SkyDRM Viewer. In this use case, I will demonstrate accessing protected files in Shared Workspace. A shared workspace in SkyDRM is an external repository that is connected to SkyDRM. An example of a shared workspace is SharePoint Online. We will access the protected files directly in the shared workspace from the subfolders. Then, we will check the file rights and open the protected file with SkyDRM Viewer. I am logged into SkyDRM Web Application. Let's go to the shared workspace and click on the Protected Files folder. Here, there are different subfolders. Let's access the cat subfolder and check the permissions of one of the files in this subfolder. Click on the menu and select the View Info icon. The file is classified as internal, and I have view permissions. Double-click this file to open it. I can view this file in SkyDRM Web Viewer. Next, let's log in to SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop (RMD) and go to the Shared Workspace. Then, click on the Protected Files folder. There are different subfolders. Let's access the PDF subfolder and check the permissions of a file. To do so, right-click and select View File Info. Here, you see that the file is classified as restricted, and I have view permissions. Now, double-click the file to open it. I can view the file in SkyDRM Viewer. In this use case, I will demonstrate sharing protected files in Project. For this use case, all users in SkyDRM can access protected files in Project Big Sky. We will check file rights and open the protected file with SkyDRM Viewer. We will also view the file's activity log. I am logged into SkyDRM Web Application. Let's go to Project Big Sky. Click on Files and access the cat folder. Let's check the permissions of a file in this folder by clicking the View Info icon in the menu. Here, we see that the file is classified as restricted, and I have view permissions. Let's open the file. I can view the file in SkyDRM Web Viewer. Next, I want to check the activity log of this file. Click on the View Activity icon in the menu. This pop-up shows all the activities of the file. Now, let's log in to SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop (RMD) and navigate to the Project Big Sky. Then, access the PDF folder and check the permissions of a file in this folder. To do so, right-click and select View File Info. The file is classified as internal, and I have view permissions. Double-click this file to open it. I can view this file in SkyDRM Viewer. In this use case, I will demonstrate protecting local and shared workspace files. We will protect files stored on local drive or shared workspace using different classifications, such as internal, confidential, and restricted. Then, we will store the resulting protected files to where it is, or into Workspace, Shared Workspace, or Project. Here, I am logged into SkyDRM Web Application. First, I will go to Project Big Sky, click on Files, and access the Public Work Area folder. Let's create a protected file that is currently stored in my local drive to share it with Project Big Sky members. Select the file from the local drive and click Proceed. Here, we will need to specify the permissions to the file. For this protected file, I want its classification to be internal. Then, click Create Protected File. This file is uploaded to Project Big Sky and is protected. Let's check the permissions of this file. As you can see, the file's classification and permissions are as expected. I can also open the file with SkyDRM Web Viewer to view the contents. Next, let's go to the Shared Workspace and access the Sample Files folder. There are different subfolders. Let's access the Cat subfolder and select a normal file to protect. Since we want to store this new protected file in Project Big Sky, I will change the save location to Project Big Sky. Public Work Area. Then, select the classification for this protected file. Here, we will select Confidential. Now, let's check the file in Project Big Sky. As you can see, the file we just created is protected in Project Big Sky and is shared with the project members. Next, let's go to the Shared Workspace and access the Sample Files folder. Let's access the PDF subfolder and select a normal file to protect. Since we want to store this new protected file in Workspace, I will change the save location to Workspace, Protected Files, Public Work Area. Then, select the classification for this protected file, Restricted. Now, let's check the file in Workspace, Protected Files, Public Work Area. As you can see, the file we just created is protected here and is shared with all users of the tenant. Lastly, let's go to the Shared Workspace and access the Sample Files folder. Let's access the Office subfolder and select a file to protect. Since we want to store this new protected file in a separate folder in the Shared Workspace, I will change the save location to Shared Workspace, Protected Files, Public Work Area. Then, select the classification for this protected file, Confidential. Now, let's check the file in Shared Workspace, Protected Files, Public Work Area. As you can see, the file we just created is protected here. Now, I am logged into SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop R&D. I will go to a folder in my local drive and protect a normal file from this folder. Right-click, go to SkyDRM, and select Protect. Here, we can create a protected file. Select the classification of the file. In this case, internal. Click Next, and create protected file. As you can see, the protected file is created in the same folder. Let's check the permissions of this file. Right-click, go to SkyDRM, and select View File Info. The classification and permissions of the file are as expected. Now, open the protected file. The file is open in Office. Since I have the edit permissions, I can modify the protected file and save it. The saved file is still under protection. I can use SkyDRM R&D to protect the local file into SkyDRM server. I will select a normal file in my local drive to protect. Since I want to save this in the SkyDRM server, I need to change the save location to Project Big Sky. Public Work Area. I select the classification Internal, click Next, and create protected file. Let's check the Project Big Sky Public Work Area for the protected file. As you can see, the protected file is here. In this use case, I will demonstrate adding a protected NXL file from local drive or any SkyDRM workspace to another SkyDRM workspace. I am logged into SkyDRM Web Application. Let's go to the Workspace, Protected Files, and access the PDF subfolder. Select the file and check its permissions. I have Save As permissions on this file. To add a protected file, click on the Add icon in the menu. Let's add this file to Project Big Sky. Public Work Area to share with project members. Click on Add File. Now, navigate to Project Big Sky. Public Work Area, and you can see the protected file is added here. Next, let's go to Workspace Protected Files and access the cat folder. Let's check the permissions of this file. I have Save As permissions on this file. Let's add this protected file to Shared Workspace. Protected Files, Public Work Area to share with all users. And click on Add File. Now, navigate to the Shared Workspace, Protected Files, Public Work Area, and the protected file is added here. Now, I am logged into SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop RMD. In my local drive, I select a file from this folder and check the file's permissions using SkyDRM View File Info. I have the Save As permission. To add a protected file, right-click, go to SkyDRM, and select Add File. Then, select the location to add this file. In this case, I will select Project Big Sky, Public Work Area to share with project members. Click Add File. Back in the SkyDRM RMD, I navigate to Project Big Sky, Public Work Area, and we will see the newly protected file here. Next, go to Project Big Sky Office folder. Let's check the permissions of this file. I have Save As permission. Let's add this file to Shared Workspace. Protected Files, Public Work Area, to share with all users of the tenant. Now, go to the Shared Workspace, Protected Files, Public Work Area. The newly protected file is here. In this use case, I will demonstrate downloading protected files from SkyDRM.com to local drive if user has Save As permission. We will see that the downloaded file is still protected by SkyDRM. I am logged into SkyDRM Web Application. Let's go to Workspace, Protected Files, Cat subfolder, and check the permissions of this file. The classification of the file is restricted, so I do not have Save As permission. In this case, the menu does not show a download button, since I do not have permissions to download the file. Let's check the permission of another file. The classification of the file is internal, and I have Save As permission. There is a download button in the menu, and I can download this file to my local drive. This file is downloaded and is seen in my local drive. Let's check the permissions. The file is still protected by SkyDRM. Now, I am logged into SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop RMD. Let's navigate to Project Big Sky, Office folder, and check the permissions of this file. I have Save As permissions, so I can download this file to my local drive. In my download folder, the file I downloaded is here, and I can open it with Office. Let's check the file's permissions by clicking on Permissions under the NextLabs tab. As you can see, the file is still protected by SkyDRM. In this use case, I will demonstrate using SkyDRM Web Application to view protected file in local drive. We will access the protected file on the local drive without any client software installed. Then, use View Local File feature to view the local protected file with SkyDRM Web Application if the user has view permission. I am logged into SkyDRM Web Application. Let's check on View Local File on the home page and choose a local protected file to view. As you can see, we can view the local protected file since we have view permission. In this use case, I will demonstrate how access will be denied to protected files after the rights granted to user expires. Here, I am logged into SkyDRM Admin Console. I navigate to Policies and check the policy Access Rights for Files Classified as Confidential. The policy effect duration is from November 1 to November 8, 2023. The date right now is November 10, 2023. Let's go to SkyDRM Web Application and go to Workspace, Protected Files, Cat Folder. I check the permissions of this file. This file is classified as confidential, and I have no permissions on this file. When I try to open it, I am denied access with a pop-up message, "You are not authorized to view this file." This is because the rights granted expired. In my local drive, I have some protected files. Let's check the permissions of this protected file. This file is classified as confidential, and I have no permissions on this file. When I try to open it, I am denied access since the rights granted expired. In this use case, I will demonstrate how external partners can be invited to join a project to collaborate and share files. For this demonstration, we have Rob White, the project admin who creates the project Summit and adds files in the project. Frank Lewis, an external partner who is invited by Rob to join the project, and James Brown, a subcontractor who is invited by Frank to join the project. Logged into SkyDRM Web Application as Rob White, Rob will create a new project, Summit. Fill in the project's name and description. Then click Proceed. He will choose External for project text and click Create Project. Then create categories for the document classification. In this case, he will create Summit Classification and adds the labels: Public, Internal, Confidential, and Restricted, and click Save. Next, he will create a new policy, Summit Policy on Confidential Data, with confidential classification. The permissions to grant on the resources are View, Edit, and Save As. Click Save and Deploy to save the policy. The policy is saved. Now, he adds files to the Summit project. And applies confidential classifications to the file. The file is uploaded to the project, and he will add more files to the project. Let's check the permissions of one of the files. The file's classification is confidential and has View, Edit, and Save As permissions. When he tries to open the file, he can view the file in SkyDRM Web Viewer. Let's try to invite external partners to join this project. Rob White has invite permission, so he can invite the external partner, Frank Lewis, to join the project. As Frank Lewis, we can see the SkyDRM project invitation email in his inbox. Frank can join the project by clicking on the button embedded in the email, and he will be redirected to skydrm.com. As Frank does not have a SkyDRM account, he can click on Sign Up and Join. Frank fills in his information and signs up for an account. In the view of the SkyDRM approval user, I will see Frank's registration details from the user registration list, and his account is pending approval. I approve Frank's registration. When Frank checks his email, he receives an email SkyDRM New Account Activation email to activate his account. He clicks on the Activate Account button embedded in the email to activate his account. Now, Frank can log in to SkyDRM with his account. Once logged in, he can accept the invitation to join the project summit. Frank can access the project summit, and he can view the files in the project shared by Rob. He checks one of the files' permissions. He has View, Edit, and Save As permissions. He can open the file and view it with SkyDRM Web Viewer. Frank is now logged in to SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop RMD. He can see the project summit and checks the permissions of the files. Similarly, he has View, Edit, and Save As permissions. Frank opens an Office file. Since he has Edit permissions, he can modify and save the file. As you see here, the file is saved and is uploaded to the server. Back in the SkyDRM Web Application, we see that Frank has invite permissions for the project summit. He can invite his subcontractor, James Brown, to join the project. James Brown checks his email and sees that he received the SkyDRM project invitation email in his inbox. He clicks the Join the Project button and signs into SkyDRM as he has an existing SkyDRM account. Once logged into the SkyDRM Web Application, he automatically joins the project and goes to the project summit. James checks the files in this project and checks the permissions for one of the files. He has View, Edit, and Save As permissions. He opens the Office file. He can view the file in SkyDRM Web Viewer and sees the edits made by Frank. When he tries to open another file, he can also view it. Now, logged in as project admin Rob White. Once Rob completes his collaboration with Frank and James, he can remove them from the project summit. Logged into SkyDRM Web Application as Frank Lewis, we see that he can no longer see the project summit, so he cannot access any file in this project. Similarly, when logged into SkyDRM Web Application as James Brown, James is also no longer able to see the project summit, so he cannot access any file in this project. In this use case, I will demonstrate protecting files automatically in MyFolder. Files will be protected automatically with predefined classifications in MyFolder on Windows after the files are copied or moved into the folder. Here, I am logged into SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop RMD. I will go to Preference and select Folder. Click the Add My Folder button. Choose the folder, My Folder from Work area. Check Auto Protection and select the internal label under Classification. Click Apply to set up the folder as My Folder with Auto Protection. In the Work area in Windows Explorer, we see that there is a SkyDRM emblem on My Folder. This indicates that My Folder is SkyDRM folder. Click into My Folder. There is no file in this folder. Let's copy some normal files and paste them into My Folder. You will see that these files are protected automatically by SkyDRM. Let's check the file permissions. The file is classified as internal, and I have view permissions on the file. Open this file, and I can view the contents with SkyDRM Viewer. In this use case, I will demonstrate accessing the protected files with the native application on Windows with SkyDRM Rights Management Desktop RMD. I am logged into SkyDRM RMD. I configured JT2Go as a trusted application on this machine. In my local drive's work area, I have a JT file that is already protected by SkyDRM. Let's check the file's permissions. The file is classified as restricted, and I have view permissions on this file. Let's double-click to open the file. Here, you can see that this protected JT file is opened with the application JT2Go. In this use case, I will demonstrate how to display and show results of SkyDRM.com in the Service Operations Center (SOC). I am logged into NextLabs Service Operations Center. Let's view the SkyDRM reports. First, let's take a look at the user report. This report lists all the users of SkyDRM.com. I can change a disabled user status to active. Similarly, I can disable a user if the user is active. The projects report lists all the projects in SkyDRM.com. For each project, it lists the project's name, project's host, the number of users, and the number of files. The user files report lists the username, email, and the number of files for each user. The shared files report lists the name and email of the user who shares the file, the number of shares, and the number of accessed for each shared file. The file's activities report lists the access time, file name, login ID, username, email, device where the file is accessed, the operation that a user does, and the operation result. With this, we conclude our demonstration on SkyDRM.com. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the NextLabs channel and stay tuned for more data-centric security videos.